Hello,
Hello, and
hello.
welcome to Not Another Who podcast live
Live!
at the Apollo. Gosh,
It's
this is
not quite that.
nerve-wracking.
Yeah, this is the
Oh,
first time we've done anything like this before.
it is working as well. So, hello to everyone watching us live. Thank you very much. Oh gosh. Right. Hello, Sam. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you to everyone in the last week and a half who has subscribed. Fantastic, absolutely brilliant amount of subscribers that we've got. We've literally breached over 200. I'm hoping we can keep up the momentum. So if you can, please share this podcast with your friends, with your family, with your co-workers, and get more people involved, because we appreciate the help. So, as you can tell,
So,
I'm in a different TARDIS console today.
the
Um,
latest one.
Hi Cheryl, who has said hi on the chat. Hello to you watching. Right. Well, let's get into it, shall we? Robot Revolution. How did you?
Mm,
Right. One thing I was going to say, because I said this to you earlier. What we want to
yeah.
do is we want to sum up our experience watching it in one word. So
Mm,
Sam and I will say one word that sums up our viewing experience, and you viewers chip in with um, your one word reaction to this episode, and we will read it out and comment.
mm.
So, Sam, what is your one word that sums up?
I should have thought about this. Um,
Shall I tell you mine?
yeah, you say yours.
Okay, so my one word is hitchhikers.
Hitchhikers. Mm.
And I'll expand more on it, but hitchhikers was my word. And if anyone else has any one word reactions to this episode, please chip in and we will read them out and react to them.
I can't think of anything right now.
Can't think of anything. Okay, well, I'll
you,
expand on my
you,
one word.
yeah, you expand on your one word. I'll think about it.
So the reaction I got from watching this episode is it felt like it was something straight out of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Mm,
It had a very Douglas Adams vibe to it.
yeah.
Not just with like the 60s aesthetics and the robots, but just the overall kind of it felt like something out of that universe, if you get what I mean.
Mm, yeah.
And I really liked the fact that it felt pulpy, it felt science fictiony instead of
Mm.
having to sort of dip into the lore at any point. But yeah. So what did you think overall to the episode? Like without
Overall,
saying what, yeah.
well, overall, I thought the it's probably the best episode in this era so far, I think. I don't know if you agree with me with that, or
Well, I like 73 yards. I thought that was a good one.
yeah, that's
And
a good one.
Boom had its moments. Uh, but I think I don't know. It was definitely better than Space Babies because I know
Oh, definitely.
that's something you said. You were like, I'm itching to hear your reaction. What did you think?" And I was like, "I'm not going to say anything because I want to leave it to this point." But it's it's almost like night and day. Space Babies was such a divisive episode. You either liked it or you hated it. I just couldn't. I just couldn't really get it because
Mm,
it just felt very flat. Um,
yeah.
Whereas Robot Revolution, this feels like an actual start of an era.
Mm. Yeah,
And I like,
it does feel like that,
sorry,
yeah. Yeah,
and I like the bit at
if
the beginning. Sorry, I'll shut up.
we do this all the time. We're talking over each other. Yeah, I felt like it was a beginning of like a new era. Um,
Mm,
as you said, it it kind like the the previous episodes they felt a bit disjointed. Um,
mhm,
and they didn't really like flow. They they were a bit they were really a bit like weak in some
mm,
respects, like Space
mhm.
is the Empire of Death.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I just really didn't gel with them, but with this episode, I just felt like it felt like Doctor Who. It felt like
Mm.
an episode of like the Sylvester McCoy era. I don't know if you got that vibe as well.
Oh, I was thinking more Tom Baker.
Yeah, something.
That's why I said Doug. That's why I said Douglas Adams because it felt like
Mm,
something that Douglas Adams would have written.
I mean, yeah, and the Sylvester McCoy era went into that pulpy kind of angle.
Yeah, I think with Sylvester McCoy's era, it was more dark pulpy, whereas Tom's was a
Yeah.
bit more. It was Tom was the light, and there was darkness all around. You know, because
Mm,
like any threat that Tom Baker's Doctor would face would be, terrifying. But he would
yeah.
always put the audience at ease because you know how effortlessly he would glide over it, and that kind of felt the same with this in this episode with Shooty. He felt like he was handling everything with ease.
Mm,
And it was more Belinda who had more of the antagonist, not really antagonist, but more of the kind of disruptive vibe where
mm,
I mean we'll go into it a bit more, but it was her some of the problems were hers and some of it was just people blaming her.
mm.
But yeah, that's why I thought sort of Hitchhiker's Guide because it had that element of um that that kind of that balance of tone of light and dark.
Yeah.
Um, so the episode begins with Belinda and I can't remember his name. Oh, what's his name? I had uh
Her boyfriend. I don't know.
I
I
had the
forgot his name as well.
I had the cast. Hang on. Screenshots. Because I screenshotted the cast. Just Johnny Green, Alan Budd. There we go. So Belinda and Alan, Alan, Alan,
Hello.
were just sat on a bench in the darkness. Now, now, now. Why, if it's set 17 years ago, I'm not sure what age Belinda's meant to be. Um, Alan, I'm not sure what age Belinda's meant to
Hello.
be, but why why was Verada playing her younger self?
Yeah, I was like, is she supposed to be about 30 something years old, in her early 30s, late 20s? I, I, d-
Yeah.
I, I didn't really get that.
So
Um,
I kind of felt like the BBC budget or Disney budget, let's say, didn't really stretch to actors. Um, it's like you can have all the flashy visuals, but you've still got to
yeah,
have actors play themselves, but younger or older in Millie's case.
uh, like
Um,
uh, like Amy Pond was played by her real
cousin,
life cousin. Yeah,
yeah,
Karen
and
Gillan's
that
cousin.
worked because you're engaged in that. And then when Karen Gillan had to play older, yes, they had
Yeah,
prosthetics, but it made sense, you know.
yeah, it did make sense. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the introduction only because I do feel like um they could have got a younger actress to play Belinda and then
Mm.
it would have been a nicer vibe. The doctor in the hospital or like the hospital scenes. What did you think about that?
Um. Yeah, I thought they were all right, really. I like it when he blew up all the lights
Mm.
and all
I did
the
have
tech.
I did have a kind of feeling because this had a very Smith and Jones vibe at the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah, I felt that when
It's almost like RTD is
mm,
has kind of run out of ideas and he's retreading on old ground. But
oh, he
um,
did that last series. He was
mm,
treading on old ground throughout, even with the
but
series finales.
I don't understand. I mean, I guess we may see it later in the series, but so the Doctor knows who Belinda is at this point and is trying to track her down, or was that
Yeah.
explained later in the episode? I can't remember. But I was kind of like, what? Um, why is it that we know or the Doctor knows who Belinda is first? Why aren't we
Mm,
getting given just a little bit of just a little bit of character establishment before we jump into the drama? I feel like it was kind of the drama was just in.
mm,
Uh,
yeah.
I felt
Yeah.
like the sort of beginning of the pace of the episode was just a little bit, in the first 5 minutes were basically set up to the premise.
Mm,
And usually in Doctor Who episodes, they like to kind of flesh out the first 10 minutes or so to set up the events of the rest of the episode.
mm. Yeah,
Um,
I felt this episode was actually, it had a bit more meat on the bones, like
yeah,
with the previous stuff we had. It had a bit of like substance to it, um, and
yeah.
and I hope they do actually go in that direction and not just fall flat next week.
Yeah, this is the problem is with 8 episodes, you have got to keep the momentum up.
Mm,
You've got to just keep going because if there is going to be a dud, and I think the dud might happen in maybe episode 3 or 4, because I think Lux
yeah,
is shaping up to be a very fun episode.
I'm
I think
actually
Lux is going to
looking
get back
forward to
to
that.
classic Who.
Yeah, it looks really good, that one does. I hope it doesn't let me down.
Yeah. Um, so then we go from the hospital to Belinda going home, and she lives in a house share. Now this is different for Doctor Who because I don't think we've
Yeah.
explored house shares as much.
No, it's usually the companion and her extended family, like her mom and dad
Hmm.
or whatever.
So I do hope that we get more of a glimpse of this kind of house share arrangement. I know
Mm,
obviously the majority of the series is focusing on getting her back home. But
maybe.
I feel like this sort of house share was an interesting idea that I don't want them to just drop.
Mm, maybe in the series finale, we might get a bit of that.
Mm.
Um,
Well, just sort of understanding her normal life because I like a this is what I liked about the first RTD era is I was invested in characters like Jackie and like Francine and
yeah.
what's her name? Donna's mum. Can't remember her
Uh,
name.
Jackie?
I
No, not
think
Jackie.
so. No,
No. Oh, Sylvia. Is it?
Sylvia. There we go. Call us Doctor Who fans, and we can't bloomin' remember. Um. So yeah, we go. This is the thing: is I feel like the family or the roots, the Earth roots is important to show
Mm,
some character exploration. So I do
yeah.
hope we see more of that.
Hopefully, yeah. Um,
Uh,
what we
and
got of
then we, sorry.
what what we got of the new companion. She she is a lot more mature than Millie
Hmm.
was in the Millie Ruby Sunday's character.
Yeah, the
Um,
church on Ruby Sunday.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that she's an older, um, more mature companion.
Mm.
I kind of vibe with them instead of 19-year-old girls.
Well, I think yeah, there is a part of that, but also we've had too many new series companions that are just like it's fun and adventure, space and time. When
Yeah.
all I want from a character is just a little bit of pushback, or even Rose had that little bit of pushback, and she was
Mm,
willing to go traveling, but there was limits, and I feel like Millie had no limits, or Ruby had no
mm,
limits. So
yeah.
why is it that why is it that you have one character who's literally like, oh, it's fun, great, and then because I like the more stronger characters with a backbone.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah.
Um,
Um, with Rose and Belinda.
and then we get a part. Well, we get to the part where she's in bed and a strange light. Well, the spaceship is landing,
Mm.
and it wakes her up, and the robots come in. Now, the robots, they look a bit cool. I have to admit, they do look pretty cool.
Yeah, they do look pretty cool.
They do have a bit of a Hitchhiker's vibe to them as well. You know, that's kind of where my Hitchhiker's vibe's going.
Have you seen the film Forbidden Planet?
Yeah, the 50s one.
Yeah, it gave me that kind of vibe as well.
Robbie the
Um,
robot.
yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
And the the robot from Lost in Space as well. If you ever seen that.
Yes. Yes,
Danger,
I know the one you
danger.
mean.
You know that guy.
Mm. Um, yeah, I liked the look of these. Apparently, someone said that they looked like. Have you seen the Sarah Jane Adventures?
I've seen most of it,
Okay.
and
Well,
that was a
there's an
very long
episode.
time ago.
Well, there's an episode. I think it's in like the last or second to last series when I think it's called The Empty Earth. And if you don't know, look it up as soon as you know you
Yeah.
are done here. But the robots pretty much look similar to the ones in those,
Mm.
and I thought that was an interesting comparison.
And
So
the
sorry.
and the robots from Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. I think it is.
Yeah, or like
Yeah,
yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah. I don't like that episode, but you know,
The robots are good. It's Mitchell and
yeah, the
Webb.
robots are good. Yeah, yeah,
And then sorry, I keep interrupting.
yeah. I'm not gonna. Well, we're not reviewing Dinosaurs on a Spaceship today, though.
So then Belinda,
Melinda.
sorry, Melinda is captured by the robots and is led to the spaceship where we have a Mrs. Flood cameo. Ooh,
Ooh,
Mrs. Flood.
played
Um,
by Anita
Now
Dobson
played by Brian May's wife, Anita Dobson.
and Dirty Den's wife in EastEnders.
Oh, Dirty Den. What, mate? Uh, that that was my impression. It's bad. Don't bother. It's bad. Um, yeah, Anita Dobbs. So Mrs. Flood is both neighbours with Ruby and Belinda. How does that work? Or will we
Don't
know?
know.
Will we find out?
Yeah, we'll probably find out later on. Oh yeah,
Um,
I didn't get that bit.
Well, it's something I picked up on immediately because I was like, because this scene was released a couple of days before, and I saw this and I did think that this scene looked quite cheesy, but now in context, it actually has a bit more of a funny vibe to it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do
it
feel
does.
like Varada Sethu is playing up a little bit of the kind of hammy performance. But thank you, Julie. Yeah, Mrs. Flood, I think, is proving to be one of those interesting enigmas that hopefully we'll find out. You know what? I know that there's leaks. I've seen the leaks. I'm a bit sad that I've seen the leaks because I kind of
Yeah,
don't want it to happen. We're not
I
going to talk
avoided
leaks
them.
because, yeah, good for you. Good for you. We're not going to talk about leaks because I don't want to spoil the series for anyone watching. But
Yeah,
um, the one thing I had in terms of theories that I feel like with Mrs. Flood, we're going to get some sort of, because apparently she's in every episode, so she's doing a Susan twist.
Mm.
So we are going to have a cameo every episode, but whether or not she has a connection to the companion or to the Doctor, I'm not quite sure. But I am interested to see where they take it, you know?
Yeah. Everyone thinks she's the Rani. I'm not so sure about that one.
Well, I feel like out of all the classic characters to bring back, that's one character I feel like is always rumored but never confirmed. And
Yeah.
you know, I remember back when Series 5, when Series 5 was just about to broadcast and the trailer was released, and one of the soldiers had an Omega symbol on it. And
Mm.
everyone in the Doctor Who community went absolutely nuts because they thought Omega was going to come back.
Yeah.
And
That's
how
another
wrong they were.
rumor that's going about as well. He's going to be the big bad in the series finale, but I don't know.
Nah,
No.
no. Who's the Rani? The Rani is a time lady? Yeah, time
Yeah.
lady.
Time Lady.
Uh, from the 80s era, so she was in Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy's series,
Mark
respectively.
and Mark and the Rani and Time of the
Time,
Rani. And she
time.
also appeared in the Children in Need special in Dimensions in Time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the 30th anniversary.
yeah,
Um,
it's horrible. Don't watch it.
it's glorious. It's glorious. It's brilliant.
It's
I won't hear a bad word against it.
it's horrible.
Dimensions in Time is better than Space Babies. There, I
I
said it.
mean, I do like that that techno version of the theme tune.
Yeah, that is probably the best bit about it.
Yeah, it was
And
so
also,
90s. So
seeing a Sea Devil on Albert Square was just chef's kiss. You know, perfect.
was he missing eyes or something?
I think they were drooping out. I think that because it was in like the
Yeah,
70s costume in storage. Let's be honest,
for about
BBC.
20 odd years. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I liked the kind of back and forth that Mrs. Flood and Belinda had because it was like Belinda was like, please inform my mum and my dad that I've been kidnapped by robots and the police and all this. And Mrs. Flood was like, yeah, bye. See you
Oh,
later.
there's one thing I didn't like in that scene. They
Paul.
killed the cat.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bit. Well, I kind of see it being necessary to kind of prove the ruthlessness of these robots, but why a cat?
Yeah, why a cat? Why couldn't it be
A housemate?
yeah.
That would have been funny. Like imagine, you know, in Smith and Jones, where the guy hits the Jadoon over the head with a vase.
Yeah.
Imagine like doing something like that, but like a housemate throws a frying pan or something, or like a
Mm.
pack of bacon. Hey, have this. Ah.
Or
So then, oh, sorry, did you have anything to add?
um who was it who said are you gonna fight them out with their GCSEs or something?
That was
Is
a
that
doctor, wasn't it?
yeah, it was a doctor that I could do that.
It feels like something that either Eccleston or Capaldi would say.
Yeah, I think it was Eccleston.
Most likely. Um, so then the rocket takes off. The nice looking 60s rocket takes off, and we go into the title sequence,
Mm.
which is very, very. I mean, have they updated it? I think they have.
Oh,
I know that
by the
the
way,
logo at the beginning's updated.
I mean, I have to make a confession. I skipped it.
You skipped the title sequence?
Yeah, I was in a rush this morning, and I had like about 48 minutes to watch it.
Well, yeah, okay, I get it. You know, you wanted to watch it as soon as possible, and the
Yeah,
title sequence is a tad long. I know people have been moaning about our title sequences being a minute long, but you know,
yeah,
at least ours is entertaining.
yeah. It
Um,
is entertaining.
and then we have Belinda on the spaceship, and the Doctor is chasing after her. And we get that weird vibe where time seems to fracture and go wibbly.
Wibbly wobbly.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Um, it doesn't work with me because my my hand just cuts out.
It just
Um,
disappeared.
and let's be honest, I do like that wibbly time fracture. That look to the
Yeah.
you know I think obviously we're going to get a reason as to why it happens, but
Mm.
I like the fact that it was a plot point in this episode instead of just being sort of
Yeah.
set up for no reason. You actually
Mm.
look like you're in a time fracture at the moment with
Yeah,
your
with
blurred background.
my blurry background.
Um. So yeah, and then she lands on the planet, and it's very interesting how kind of from the offset you get this vibe that nothing's quite right, that something
Mm.
seems off.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and I have to admit it does look good. The I know people were claiming it was the Dalek city of Scar in on Skaro.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Um, I think in a past episode, I said I don't think that it's the Daleks, and if I'm wrong, this could age really badly, and I'm glad I'm wrong. Right,
Yeah,
wrong, right, wrong.
you're right. I mean, you're right about it being wrong.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go. Um, I mean, it does look very kind of Scaro vibes, but I kind of like the fact that it is this just weird, interesting, different thing. Um, I get the confusion that fans have, but I know that people want the
Yeah.
Daleks to return, but RTD
Mm.
doesn't want that. So then Belinda is led into the throne room. No, yes, the throne room.
Yeah, the throne room. Throne room.
Where everything seems to sort of she's led in by Sasha 55, played by Evelyn Miller.
Mm.
Um and yeah, you know, I like the throne room. I like the rustic vibes that the throne room has. Um I like the little mouse droid that reminds me of the Star Wars mouse.
Yeah. Roger, Roger.
You know, you know the on the Death Star, the black little robot that
Oh yeah,
whizzes
yeah,
around.
yeah. But
Yeah.
but the what was the robot's catchphrase?
What the one in Star Wars?
The little in the
Oh,
episode.
polish, polish, polish.
Polish. It gave me Roger Roger vibes.
See,
Roger Roger.
I was thinking Norbert from Wallace and Gromit.
Mm.
I don't know whether you've
Um,
seen Vengeance Most Foul.
at at least it's not as annoying as the robot from Waters of Mars.
Yeah, gadget. That's more
Yeah,
like the robot from droid from Star Wars. Gadget.
yeah, yeah. That
Um,
robot did my head in.
and then we had the Doctor is the historian, which is interesting. Because of
Mm,
the time fracture, there's like 6 month gap between the Doctor landing and Belinda landing.
yeah,
So we had the Doctor kind of explain to Belinda the situation, and now I really like this 9-word thing.
yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
It's very unique. It's
Mm.
very original.
It felt like a Moffat thing.
Yeah, it did really feel like a Moffat thing.
Mm.
Yeah, I really like
Um,
that
and I like the fact that Belinda is just kind of throughout the sort of beginning of this, she's trying to get her head around the whole concept of her being this queen and these robots basically forcing her to be here, and
bit.
she's really reluctant. And there's that whole thing about obviously the star named after her, and this is the
Yeah,
star, and you know it. I know it gave me similar vibes to Girl in the Fireplace. You know the
yeah.
robot that Madame de Pompadour. So they go
Mm,
back in time because they're trying to get Madame de Pompadour the parts, and it was that confusion. It kind of had the similar vibe.
yeah. I mean, what did I say? RTD treads on his own.
Oh, treads on old
Is
ground.
all. Yeah, treads on old ground. That's it.
Julie, I loved how she counts on her fingers. Yes, because she's trying to understand what is going on. So when Shooty is saying the words, and every ninth word he's giving her the actual, like, clues. So when she has to respond, she goes da da da. Yeah, it was good because it kind of made you feel like you could
Yeah.
actually understand. You could understand her perspective, trying to get her head around the concept.
Mm,
So that was good. And then yeah, Shooty explaining everything. Oh, and then the rebels. So we have the rebellion fights back against the robots. And unfortunately, we have our second death of the episode. So R.I.P. the cat and R.I.P. Sasha 55.
yeah, you kind of knew that was going to come.
Yeah, I mean,
It was very
I
predictable.
it was very predictable, but I don't think. because you know how did you watch Joy to the World, or have you not watched
No,
that yet?
I haven't
Okay,
watched it.
don't
Still,
bother. It's a waste of time. Uh, um, so in Joy to the World, there was a large part of the story was framed around Doctor being stranded on Earth and being in the hotel. Now, we felt more attached to the character because there was a lot more time to explore the dynamic between her and the Doctor. And we didn't get this vibe with Sasha. You know, the Doctor claims that he had this connection and he's saddened, but it's like we literally only saw her on screen for like 5 minutes.
mm,
Doesn't really
yeah,
make any. So sorry, RTD. Points down for that one. Um, yeah, you can't just crowbar in things for us to be sad about. We've got to actually have the emotion behind it. We've got to feel a connection with the character before we can feel sad
yeah,
for them.
yeah,
So yeah, the revolution happens, and then they take refuge in the Undercity. The Doctor cries. And literally the first thing I saw when I woke up this morning is you message the Doctor cries 17 minutes 23 seconds in.
uh,
Now, I'm not opposed to seeing the Doctor cry. I don't mind it
yeah,
when needed. But so far, in most of his stories, he's shedding tears that don't feel impactful, you know?
yeah,
And it's almost like RTD is throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. And it's like I get where the Doctor's meant to be more emotive, but
mm,
it feels like it's something that didn't really work in this one.
mm,
Especially this time around because with Shooty crying over someone we've only known for 5 minutes. Yes, he's had a longer connection, but we've not seen that.
yeah. Oh, I think
So
it was 6 months.
yeah, it was a 6 month gap, but we didn't see his side. We only saw Belinda's.
Yeah,
So for us, it's only been like 20 minutes or
yeah,
well, yeah, literally like 20 minutes because it's at 17 minutes. So it just feels a bit flat. Putting a crying scene here seems a bit flat for
yeah.
me. And then we get more of the exposition behind the Undercity and the robots, them sort of talking about it. Um,
Mm,
Belinda trying to help and actually doing a good job of, saying, "What do you need? I'm here to help," and showing that doctor side of her,
mm,
or the nurse, or her medical side.
yeah.
And I did see this one reaction. So it's funny how in Martha's, I think it was first episode or series, she mends a broken arm, and so does Belinda.
Mm,
So
mm.
again, RTD treading on old ground. It should just be we should just have a bingo card of RTD-isms. Play
Maybe
along
next
with us
week
at home. Yeah.
you
And
can
then the
you can.
doctor. Sorry.
I said you can get a full house.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be a good idea if we did a bingo card and try and see if we can get some guesses or anything. If you've got any
Yeah.
suggestions on what we should put on our bingo card, leave them in the comments, and we'll draw up a bingo card. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the Doctor shows that he has two hearts. To sort of prove that he's not an alien,
Yeah.
or to prove he is an alien, or something.
Yeah, I was confused at that point. I was like, why?
I feel like it was kind of, again, it was crowbarred
Yeah.
exposition.
Yeah.
So yeah, then we had more exposition. I'm literally skimming over the episode
Or the
to kind of
the or the expedition. Expedition? Yeah,
exposition
ex,
exposition.
yeah. No, you can't say it now.
Um, I have to say, out of the Doctor's costumes in this episode, I preferred the kilt to the costume he had on Belinda, Miss Belinda Chandra 1. The kilt look was good. That was a proper Doctor vibe, I thought.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the bomber jacket, but the kilt, the striped kilt was nice.
Yeah, I liked the striped kilt. Yeah. It's good.
Then we have more exposition, and we have what was his name? Manny,
Alan?
played by Max Parker. Manny comes across as a little bit, distrustful, or kind of sneers at Belinda a little bit, or accuses her of being the problem. So that was a vibe that I got, and I feel like that was just to create some tension. But again, it was something that I feel like would have been better if we had more time to set up the whole Sasha dying thing. If I'm thinking critically, I felt like the conflict in that scene was a bit forced.
Yeah.
And then Belinda, the robots start attacking, or there's, I think it was bombing. The Undercity was being bombed or something. And then we had everyone sort of struggling. Belinda takes the cleaning robot and activates it, which leads to the robots coming in and capturing her.
Yeah. She sacrifices herself.
Pretty much, yeah. And then we get the
Save
big
the
kind of
others.
showdown between the AI robot.
Yeah. The when the AI robot opens up and that gave me Superman 3 vibes.
I have to admit, I haven't seen Superman 3. You'll have to explain
Yeah.
it.
Basically, there's like this robot woman who has like metal plating on her
Right.
face, and she had like AI vibes to her. It's
Mm.
been a long time since I've seen that film, but it scared me to death as a kid.
I have to say, the look was very good. There was some properly good prosthetics or character
Yeah,
design. It felt very good in that respect. You know, to there was a lot to kind of appreciate about the production value, because I know with the Disney money they've had an increase in the budget, and
mm,
it does look a lot better now.
yeah,
I know we've had this debate before where we prefer more of the cheaper looking episodes.
oh yeah,
Bit of a metamorphosis vibe. Yes, Julie, perfect.
mm,
But yeah, I feel like the production value was definitely on screen in this episode.
yeah, yeah. It was all on screen. It was, yeah. Um, yeah, I kind of miss the low budget vibe it had. You know.
I feel like Doctor Who can or should be able to do either. You should be able
Mm,
to have low budget episodes that uh, are are more challenging for the production team because they've got to think more creatively, and then you can have more high budget episodes where you can expand the universe and have these cooler high concept
yeah.
ideas on screen.
Mm,
I feel like
yeah.
the perfect balance of Doctor Who is having one, two, or three high concept episodes, and then more low budget, more interesting concepts to explore. I feel like you can strike a good balance between both.
Mm, yeah.
Then we get the reveal that it's not an AI generator, it's
Alan.
Alan. Yep.
Al.
Because during the the bit at the
Shalom.
beginning, yes.
Shalom.
um, the big bit at the beginning, Belinda says, "Get Alan. He's the one who did this," and they actually did get Alan, but it was
Mm,
another time fracture, and they got him. I think it was a year after the star scene, because he said 16 years, or there was a 17 years and a 16 years, and a six. Timey wimey, timey
yeah.
wimey.
Yeah.
Um,
You moved to Harringate.
Harringate. Uh, and yeah, then he gets captured by the robots, and it's revealed that he's in the machine. Big scary bloke. And then the Doctor says the whole 9 words thing. Every ninth word he says, "Oh, I'm in pain," or "I don't like this," or something. And then we get the Doctor, not the Doctor, Belinda. Oh yeah, no, the Doctor drops the no. So there was the reveal that Alan came across as quite controlling.
Yeah.
He was actually quite controlling. They do like a flashback, and Alan comes across as quite a coercive, controlling person, quite manipulative, which I feel like they didn't really establish at the beginning.
No,
So
that doesn't.
them sort of them sort of crowbarring it in again, it felt like something you should have set up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Again, I just feel like it's just a story concept thing. It's like if there was a second or third draft to this script, pardon me, and I feel like the coerciveness, I feel like if it had been set up a little bit at the beginning, then it would have made a bit more sense. But because it was kind of in that flashback and we had no setup, a story writing. Sorry to turn this into a bit of an education, but a story writing technique is set up and pay off. You
Yeah,
have to set something up to pay it off later. Think Chekhov's gun.
yeah,
So I feel like if we had got more of a hint of his coerciveness, then we would have got, then it would have paid off later in the story. Julie says, the coercive dialogue hits hard and affects the planet. Yes, you are very right. It does hit hard in that scene.
yeah,
And then what happens is the Doctor drops the certificate or diploma, as they keep saying.
yeah,
I feel like that was a Disney thing.
yeah. It's supposed to be a certificate.
Yeah, I feel like the Disney execs were like, Americans won't be able to understand what a certificate is. You have to say diploma instead.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, okay, that's guns. That's probably why they elected Trump. Anyway, I promised I wouldn't get too political.
oh, dear me.
So the Doctor drops the diploma, and Belinda picks it up, and she pays up. Again, this is a good setup and payoff, where she uses the certificate because there was that bit in the exposition part of the episode where they were saying if two atoms were in the same place and there were two atoms from two different times, then kaboom.
Yeah,
So there was a payoff. There was a setup and a payoff to some of it, but there wasn't enough setup and payoff. So
yeah,
RTD, you get half a point. So yeah, then Belinda touches the two diplomas touch, and it explodes, but the Doctor absorbs some of the blast.
oh, yeah, that trippy thing. I like that bit. That was
That
great.
that was a good sequence. I would say
Yeah,
that was probably my favourite bit in the entire episode.
yeah, the trippy
Mm.
mushroom like
I feel like it was very well
experience.
directed.
Mm,
And it was just that it was kind of establishing the abstract vibe and that sci-fi, weird wobbliness that we like from
yeah,
Doctor Who.
yeah. Inferno. It reminded me of
Yeah.
Pertwee trying to cross the parallel universe.
Yeah, when the TARDIS jumps parallel universe, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like that trippy. It's that weird 70s
Yeah.
vibe.
Ooh.
Mm.
And he
I've
Pertwee doing his gurning.
See, I was thinking it felt a bit more like the scene in Willy Wonka, the Gene Wilder one. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
the boat scene.
the superior one.
Yeah. Um, well, it's going to be legendary, you know.
Mm,
It'll still stand the test of time, but yeah, that trippy boat sequence, I feel like that was that kind of mimicking that vibe. That was very well directed.
mm,
And then the robots turn good again because the owl generator is fried.
yeah,
So, but you'd think when the robots turn good again, the humans will just go, "Let's get rid of these. This was a bad idea."
yeah, yeah. But they've become friends.
Yeah, it was kind of a bit of a, and there was that, kind of sort of bit at the end where they're talking about the kind of robot stuff. Yeah, it was interesting. I just
Mm,
think that really in a Doctor Who episode, you would kind of, if a robot, you do kind of get rid of the robots. I think that would have been a better ending if they'd gone, actually, let's go back to basics and not have robots in it anymore. This world could be better run if we don't have Disney ending. Yeah, pretty much like a
a
Disney
Disney
ending.
ending, yeah,
That's what we
basically.
needed. And then we got uh Belinda going into the TARDIS and her reaction to the TARDIS. Now, personally, I think if you've experienced a world of robots and weird alien stuff, the least surprising thing is going to be a TARDIS.
Mm,
You've literally just been in outer space, but
yeah,
you're surprised about this police box that's bigger on the inside.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, then we get that ending, and then Belinda and the Doctor have the chat, and then there's because this episode heavily referenced Boom with Mundy Flynn,
mm. Yeah.
and there's the bit where the Doctor's sort of talking about it, and it's like, oh my gosh, you're so connected, and this is so cool, and
Yeah.
and big fish, little fish, cardboard box, and
Mm,
um, he's like, and then it's like that Clara sort of like, oh, you're an impossible enigma that I have to solve, and it's like, you're not one of
yeah.
my, I'm not one of your adventures.
Yeah, I like that bit.
Mm,
That
that was
that
good.
was another highlight in the
Because
episode.
obviously I know series 1 and 2 were filmed back to back,
Mm,
but I feel like the fan reaction to Ruby being this not important person,
yeah.
throughout the entire series, she's hyped up to have this really intense finale where, oh, we're going to learn where Ruby came from and what happened. Oh,
Mm,
she was just abandoned. It
yeah.
felt really lackluster because it was like, RTD, you've been teasing us throughout the entirety. We're so invested in Ruby's storyline because you said it was important, and then you throw us under the bus and say it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there was no payoff whatsoever. It's just like,
No, and
no.
I feel like if he does it again, he will definitely get a lot more criticism, because we don't want companions being the main focus.
Mm,
We don't want this whole mystery box setup and payoff. We want just
yeah,
normal companion, normal adventures.
yeah. It does get boring after 13 straight seasons.
Mm.
No, 15.
And then the TARDIS disappears, and we get a shot of a London taxi cab, the Eiffel Tower, and and the Statue of Liberty
Mm. I really like
floating
that
through
cliffhanger
space.
though. That's a
Yes,
good cliffhanger.
it is, but why is it just those three?
Yeah.
And it's the Statue of Liberty, so it's America. It's the Eiffel Tower, which is France, and a London taxi cab.
Yeah, they're quite random things,
Why
aren't
couldn't it be
they?
Big Ben? Why
Yeah, it
couldn't it
could
be
have
Big
been
Ben
Big Ben.
or Nelson's Column?
Yeah, Nelson's column.
Or
Or
they could reference the Rose and have the London Eye.
yeah, the London Eye, yeah.
That would have been
Uh,
fun.
or the Millennium
I don't know.
Dome.
Millennium Dome, yeah, could have had that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the taxi cab. I did have this theory, and I don't think it's correct. So don't assume I'm right. But I had the theory that the taxi cab was connected to the noble temples, temple nobles.
Yeah. Because in what's that episode? The Star Beefs,
Yeah,
they were in a cab, weren't they? Yeah.
yeah, because Sean drives a cab, so I thought
Hmm.
there may be a connection, but I feel like I'm wrong.
Maybe. Maybe not. Hmm.
Maybe. Hmm. Julie says more recognizable to foreigners, I think. Yeah, but I think people would recognize Big Ben or the London Eye or something. I don't know. I get where Julie's coming from.
Yeah.
Um, and then we get a preview of next time where they're in Miami in the 1950s.
Hmm. Uh, have we ever? We haven't had a next time trailer last series, did we?
I
In
think they did. I swear they did.
well, I mean, I've seen them once all the way through,
Hmm.
so it's been a while.
I, I, I mean, I think the only episode I've seen more than once is Devil's Cord and maybe Empire of Death. I think those. Oh no. Legend of Ruby Sunday, because I saw it in cinema.
I thought it was Empire of Death you'd seen in the cinema.
Yeah, but it was a double bill. So they played Legend of
Oh,
Ruby first
okay.
and then Empire of Death. Yeah.
Was it
And
like edited
apparently,
together?
yeah. Well, no, actually, right. Apparently, RTD said in an interview recently, he said that apparently they were editing Empire of Death literally up to the last minute before broadcast.
Wow.
So when it was streamed in cinema, I remember watching it in the cinema and being like, "Why is it taking so long?" And I think it was literally because they were doing the absolute final touches, which is probably why it wasn't a good episode. But anyway, back to Robot Revolution. Do you have a one word to sum up your experience? Now you've had an hour of time.
Paradise.
Paradise. Interesting.
Paradise.
And to those watching, do you have a one-word sum up of what you found about the episode, how you felt? I'll let you have enough time to type it in, and we'll read it out. I think overall, my prediction of this series getting better is already happening. I don't want to jinx anything too early,
Yeah.
but I do think Robot Revolution has a big step up from Space Babies and from Series 1. It's not perfect, but it's better than what we've had.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was absolutely phenomenal. It didn't not nominal, but I didn't think it blew anything out the water, but it was a good episode. It was definitely a step up from Joy to the World. I really didn't like Joy to the World. I'm trying to burn it out my memory.
I think it's a step up from everything in Series 1. The last series.
2005? Oh, I was going to say.
No, Season 1.
Series 40.
Let's just call it Series 14.
Series 14. I'm just going to use all three.
I hate they went back to 1.
It was
it's
a
so
silly
confusing.
move. Julie says, brilliant. Looking forward to seeing what happens. Can't beat the Doctor dancing. Definitely. And on that note, so we've had a blast covering. Sorry.
What would you rate it?
Are we talking numbers or tiers?
Number.
Okay, number. Out of 5 or out of 10?
Out of 10.
Out of 10. Okay, that's easier for me. Out of 10, how would I rate this episode? How would you rate it? I'd say about 7.
Yeah, I'd say 7 as well.
7 out of 10? Yeah.
Yeah. 7.5 at the most.
I think, yeah, because I for me, it's more the story problems I have than the actual visuals. The visuals are perfect. I have nothing wrong with the directing. Not too much wrong with the acting. I feel like some performances are a little hammier than others. But
it's Doctor Who, isn't it?
It is Doctor Who, yeah.
It's not Shakespeare.
No, but but my main focus comes down to more the writing. It's setup and payoff, setup and payoff. That needs to be a thing. I feel like RTD was better at it in his first outing than he is now.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, what was you going to say before I interrupted you?
No, I was just going to wrap things up and say, yeah, it was an enjoyable ride. I'm definitely looking for. I was cautiously optimistic entering this episode, but I feel like my fears are more or less quashed now. I think I can safely enjoy it. I mean, I'm still going to be critical about the writing because the writing is what matters for me, but
Yeah, same
the
here.
visuals look good, you know.
Yeah, if you don't get
So,
the
sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
if you don't get the writing right, it all falls apart.
Definitely. And we know a thing or two about writing.
Mm,
I mean, I've done a podcast about it, but you're definitely a writer uh, in that
yeah,
regard too.
yeah,
So, yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you to our subscribers. It's amazing that we've got over 200 people supporting us.
yeah. It's
We want to keep this
great.
going, so please share this around with your friends, with your family, with people that you know. If you bump into someone on the street, just send them a link. Um, but any bit of support that you can give us, just promoting the podcast, talking about it with your community, anything you can do to help us helps us out a lot. Thank you to Sam for joining this evening. We will be covering the new series every week, every live stream. May not always be 8 o'clock, but we'll try and get around to
Yeah,
it. We'll try and do it before 9 o'clock, you know.
yeah,
But yeah, join us next week as we take on the next episode with Alan
yeah.
Cummings.
Oh, I'm
He's
looking
not a
forward to
guest.
that one.
I am looking forward to it.
No, he's not a guest on the podcast. Yeah,
Imagine if we
so,
got him.
yeah. Give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe. See you
See
later,
you later.
folks.